Pryor grew up in a dysfunctional home. One of his brothers was missing and thought to be dead. Another ended up serving a life sentence in prison for robbing pharmacies, while another became a prostitute. Pryor was the only one among the 7 children who had a different father. "I was the kid nobody paid attention to," Pryor said. "I was neglected, completely lost. Some nights I just slept in the doorway." Pryor later claimed that he was sexually abused by a Baptist minister who lived with the family for a period of time. The family was constantly on the move, relocating to different neighborhoods in the Cincinnati area. Pryor wandered into the Friars Club and began boxing under coach Willie Davis. "I was too short for basketball," Pryor said, "too little for football, and too slow for track. So boxing fit right in." One day on his way to the store and daydreaming about boxing glory, he walked headfirst into a telephone pole and lost one of his front teeth. It was replaced with a gold one, and one day he said he'd have a gold medal to match the gold of his tooth. As a teenager, Pryor enjoyed his time at Hughes High School, earning respect for his achievements in boxing. He also held an appreciation for some of the teachers there. "I was in the slow learners group," Pryor said. "They did a lot for me." Pryor held numerous jobs as a young man trying to make ends meet: clothing salesman, stock boy, maintenance worker. He said he lost all the jobs due to his traveling boxing schedule, but all the employers cited that he was too often late or absent. Boxing became his only refuge, as Pryor often stated that he had, quote, "no one to talk to growing up." He later joined Phil Smith at the Emmanuel Community Center, where he boxed and earned a blue belt in karate. When Pryor was 15, his alcoholic mother kicked him out of the house, and he went to live with his friend Roosevelt Green. Pryor had introduced Green to the sport of boxing, and the 2 high schoolers frequently competed in tournaments together. In 1972, the 16-year-old Pryor reached the National Golden Gloves tournament, where he was halted by the more experienced Norman Goines. 3 months later, he made it to the finals of the Olympic trials, once again losing to a more seasoned adversary. But by 1973, Pryor became the number 1 ranked 132-pound amateur in the United States. He won the Ohio State title, the National AAU title, and remained undefeated in numerous international tournaments. It was in Poland where he developed his signature style of frenetic movement, bobbing and weaving, with quick punches thrown from gloves that hung by his sides. "I learned to fight that way in Poland," Pryor said. "I saw a Polish fighter use that style. It impressed me, and I began working on it." Pryor received offers to turn pro, but was also a favorite to make the 1976 Olympic team, which left him in a state of confusion about what he should do. Angelo Dundee extended offers to sign him, and it was a tempting proposition. At the age of 18, the unemployed Pryor was already married to an aspiring singer named Carol and had become a father to a baby boy. Pryor needed money, but he was enjoying great success as an amateur fighter. During a trip to Russia, the teenage Pryor faced off against a 29-year-old Russian knockout artist named Valery Solomin, defeating him by decision. He returned home, and after winning the National Golden Gloves tournament, Cincinnati Mayor Theodore Berry awarded Pryor with the key to the city. "Nobody wants to be with a loser," Pryor's trainer Phil Smith told him. "Everybody wants to be with the winner." The amateur success convinced Pryor to make a run for the Olympics. He made it to the finals of the Pan American Games in 1975, upsetting the Cuban favorite before getting disqualified for a low blow in the finals. He fought future Hall of Fame legends in Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns, exchanging knockdowns with Leonard en route to losing a decision while outpointing Hearns.
One happy man with me, Aaron Pryor. Aaron, some of the fights recently, you haven't looked quite your old self, but today was really all back together.
Yeah, like I had a hard fight this afternoon. Tonight I knew it was it. I knew I'm defending my championship, so I went at it with all my will. I knew this guy couldn't touch me. He was wild, and I was hitting with right hands. I think the gloves is double padded, but I hit him with some good right hands. And
you're fast and moving well. Mind you, they're 2-minute rounds. That makes life a bit easier.
Yes, it makes it a little bit easier because it makes it easier for me a whole lot because I know I got to keep pushing. I know I got only 2 minutes to do it, and when I'm used to fighting 3 minutes, Olympic style boxing is 3 minutes. And I know in the Golden Glove it's only 2 minutes, so I know I'm in good condition. I was just pressing myself just as hard as I could because I know by the time I got hot, the bell would have been over.
Now, you've got to train hard for these Olympic trials coming up. You're pretty confident?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that I'll win I think I'll win the Olympic trials and win the gold because I went to the Pan Am Games, got disqualified for the silver, and I know I can win the gold in Montreal with some of the guys I already don't beat. I already don't beat the gold medal winner. I know I can.
I know you can too, and we wish you the very best of luck for that moment when it comes around. Thanks, Aaron, very much.
Thank you, too.
In 1976, Pryor entered the Olympic trials, where he defeated his longtime rival, Hilmer Kenty, in front of his hometown fans in Cincinnati. However, he felt disappointed as the crowd cheered for Kenty's courage more than his own effort. "You're trying to fight the crowd," trainer Willie Davis shouted at him. "You gotta fight for Aaron." Pryor admitted that the fight with Kenty left him tired, and the next day he was decisioned by Howard Davis Jr., who swept all 3 rounds. 3 weeks later, Pryor met Davis again in the box office, with Davis taking a disputed decision and a spot on the Olympic team. I'll never forget Davis's father coming to my dressing room and saying to me, "In all fairness, they should have given it to you." Davis's mother died soon after the fighters arrived for the Olympics in Montreal. Pryor was called into the Canadian city as an alternate, but at the last minute, Davis decided to go through with the tournament. Pryor was sent home, and Davis won the Olympic gold medal. Pryor was distraught. He returned home to Cincinnati, unable to find a job, and forced to live off a $52 weekly unemployment check. In September of 1976, Pryor decided to turn pro. Initially, Chris Dundee of Florida was going to handle his career, but promoter Steve Reese and Mayor Theodore Barry became his managers. However, the duo had a hard time finding an opponent for Pryor. They found someone named Larry Smith who had no boxing experience but knew karate. Pryor knocked him out in 2 rounds. Needing someone with a better head for business and some money, Pryor signed with Buddy LaRosa, known as the Pizza King of Cincinnati. LaRosa put Pryor on a modest salary, giving him a job as a greeter at one of his restaurants. The business tycoon then remodeled an old moose lodge, installing a boxing ring, and setting Pryor up with a new coach, Jimmy Brown, who had trained Cincinnati's former world heavyweight champion, Ezra Charles. Meanwhile, Olympian Howard Davis made $25,000 for his debut, while Pryor, now nicknamed the KO Kid, made only $700 for his. Strapped for cash, Pryor accepted a job as Sugar Ray Leonard's sparring partner, which paid him $300 a week. "It's amazing," Gil Clancy said, "how many lives are changed when they raise one hand instead of the other guy's. What would have happened if they raised Aaron's hand in the way a lot of people thought they should have?" Pryor wasn't being paid like a gold medalist, but he was demolishing the opposition placed in front of him. By July of 1978, he was 13-0 and invited back to spar with Sugar Ray Leonard. The two engaged in 4 4-minute rounds of sparring, which promoter Leo Richardson described as a war, and that Leonard was, quote, really bushed when it was all over. Leonard's team sent Pryor home and never invited him back. "They were upset," Pryor said. "I could tell. I'm sure they wanted me to go easy with Ray, but it's just not my way. I go all out all the time. I haven't trained myself to hold back." While Leonard came to Dayton, Ohio for a fight in which he earned $30,000, Pryor was supposed to be paid $2,000 for his, and his check bounced. By November of 1978, Pryor was idle and broke, an undefeated fighter with no fights on the horizon. He took a construction job for $8 an hour until he was hired as a sparring partner for Howard Davis Jr. However, that job ended abruptly when Davis's father became annoyed due to Pryor consistently knocking his son down during sparring sessions. Pryor returned home and was subsequently fired from his construction job. He found employment as a stockboy in a supermarket, earning $2.50 an hour. Around the same time, his wife Carol, a singer who had signed with Motown Records, filed for divorce. "Since I was 13, I always had 2 plans," Pryor said. "To go to the Olympics and get married. I had 2 failures. I failed the Olympics and my marriage failed. My wife is getting a divorce because I couldn't get a job and support my family." Manager LaRosa cut a deal with promoter Don Elbaum, and Pryor finally began to get fights on a regular basis. But he was unable to draw crowds on his own in Cincinnati. He also changed trainers again, now working with Frank Sims and Don Turner. Sims wanted Pryor to stop holding his head up when throwing punches. The trainer had Pryor hold a rubber ball under his chin throughout their workouts as a training exercise, a routine that annoyed Pryor. He also became upset with co-trainer Don Turner, who talked up how good his next opponent, Peppermint Frazier, was. "I got tired of hearing what Frazier was going to do to me," Pryor said. "I've been training hard, and this guy comes in here telling me how great my opponent is." Pryor fired Turner for this reason, although the trainer claimed it was because he confronted Pryor on his drug use, stating that the fighter was popping pills to get high. In March of 1980, Pryor received his first televised date against Diabolito Valdez. When the main event had an early finish, CBS showed a tape of Pryor's victory. Pryor was given the second-class citizen treatment before the fight. He was the lowest-paid fighter on the payroll. His dressing room was the bathroom, as he had to sit on a toilet lid while his trainer wrapped his hands. But he impressed with his performance and was offered another fight less than a month later, his third in 7 weeks. Pryor thought he might need more rest, but he couldn't turn down the exposure. He told all the reporters that his new nickname was the Hawk because, quote, "I'm a bird of prey, fast, ferocious, and I never surrender." Pryor was now trained by Carlos Panama Lewis, an apprentice of respected teachers like Ray Arcel and Chicky Ferrara. The 32-year-old Lewis was considered one of boxing's brightest young trainers at the time. He was a former boxer before he served in the Vietnam War, and it was in the military that he began his career as a trainer. Meanwhile, CBS boxing consultant Mort Charnick saw the potential in Pryor, booking him for a title shot against longtime WBA junior welterweight champion Antonio Cervantes.
2 knockouts, including 16 in a row. And we're underway with round 1, and Pryor comes right at him like everybody expected, including the champion. In Cervantes, you will see a very relaxed fighter, no matter what kind of a buzzsaw attack Pryor puts on him. And he's getting that buzzsaw attack right away.
They're winging right from the start, Tim. Pryor's style. He's got a lot of guys out of there in 1 round.
Now, in that exchange, he did not land a real good, clean punch. But he keeps throwing them. There's a good left hook from the champion, Cervantes. Right-hand lead from Pryor landed to the chin of Cervantes. Gil, I guess the question would be, can young Pryor keep up a pace like this?
I don't think anybody could keep up this kind of pace, and I noticed that Cervantes has been very cool with this opening hurricane attack. It hasn't phased him a bit.
The champion showing that he is hard to hit. He's taken a couple of licks, however. Pryor took a right hand counter-punching from the champion.
And the referee called it a knockdown.
Yes,
His glove hit the canvas.
And I thought it was, too. Well, didn't catch him clean, but it was enough to send him down.
Well, the rule says any part of your body but your feet hits the canvas, it's a knockdown, and his glove did go down.
He took the mandatory 8 count, but came out showing that he wasn't hurt at all, and I really don't think he was. Final seconds of round 1. Well, Freddie Brown working as the cut man today, wearing his familiar green sweater, the man who had a lot to do with Roberto Duran's success. Pryor is trained by Panama Lewis and Frank Sims.
Freddie's not only working as a cut man, I saw him talking to Aaron between rounds, which means he's taking over the strategy as well.
Well, he was getting strategy from 3 of them during that first break. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that develops.
Well, they say that too many cooks spoil the broth. In this case, I counted 5 cooks in Aaron's corner. These guys are bombers, Tim. I'm waiting for something big to happen at any time.
You might see it there as the champion appeared to be staggered by the combination, but has recovered well. But he was moved by the combination from Aaron Pryor.
Break. Let him out clean, huh?
Tremendous pace in the early going. Under 30 seconds remaining, round 2. Gil, you and I were talking before the fight. Cervantes reminding me so much of Jose Napoles, who had, I think, the great nickname was so appropriate to him, Mantequilla, butter.
And smooth as butter.
Yes, he is. Final seconds of round number 2. Defended it 10 times before losing to Benitez in '76. Then he won the vacant crown in 1977 from Carlos Jimenez and has defended it 6 times successfully since. Pryor digging to the body with an effective flurry. Cervantes standing there right with him. Digging a left hook to the body.
There's that whirlwind Pryor attack. You don't know where they're coming from. And he just ran into a good right hand.
Okay, break. Straight right hand. There is some blood above the right eye of Cervantes.
Cervantes has a bad cut over his right eye. Okay, let him up. And it's running down, Tim, that could bother him, could affect his vision. It's a bad cut.
Good right hand from Cervantes. He knows he's in trouble with that cut. Pryor will not let up.
Well, we said Pryor was a good finisher, Tim. They come from all over.
Round number 3. The champion back to the ropes, and the blood flowing into his right eye. Pryor keeping relentless pressure on, but takes another right hand. Cervantes has not been able to hurt him since that. Well, he didn't even hurt him on the knockdown punch. But
Then nobody could keep up this pace for 15 rounds. This fight definitely is going to end in a knockout, and I'm going right out on a limb. That's the way it is.
To go in round 3, Gil. A lot of blood from the eye of Cervantes. The cut appears to be above the right eye, and it's running into the eye.
That's a bad cut.
Cervantes finally tying Pryor up. First time he's done that here, despite being in so much trouble. Under 30 seconds to go, round 3. Pryor to the body and up top. Jabbing away at that cut. Final seconds of the 3rd round. In the 1st round. Good counter-punching right hand landed from Cervantes, but Pryor just right back with pressure.
Just seems to brush them off them, and he's changing his direction as he moves in, and that's confusing Cervantes.
He's also jabbing pretty well for a guy that's considered a slugger. He's getting to that cut, and he landed a good combination.
I told you, Pryor's a good finisher, Tim.
He's got him down.
Good finisher.
A good punch. Tremendous right hand. Looked like an uppercut that sent the champion to the canvas, and he's trying to shake the cobweb. He might not make it up. He does not. It's all over. There is a new junior welterweight champion, the hometown hero, Aaron Pryor.
The fight received low television ratings, but the network knew it had a winner in Pryor. They booked him 3 months later for a defense against Gaetan Hart, a longtime Canadian contender whose ring history was grim. He had knocked opponent Ralph Racine into a coma and displaced Cleveland Denny's brainstem. Denny died 3 weeks after their fight. "I figure if I'm going to die," Pryor said, "and he comes for me, then he has earned it. He can have my belt." During the build-up for the Hart fight, Pryor began to display his unstable mental health in public for the first time. He refused to speak during a pre-fight press conference before starting to cry. An assistant for Pryor explained that the fighter was upset because CBS interviewers had pressed him too hard during their taping of his comments for the telecast.
Round number 6 of the WBA Junior Welterweight Championship fight. The limit 140 pounds. Gaetan Hart, the challenger in red, the champion Aaron Pryor in white, and he told Dick Stockton prior to this fight that he was going to knock out Hart within 6 rounds. And there's a right hand, and you said this shot. And that was a tremendous right hand, sending Hart to the canvas. Long leg now.
How about you?
Right hand lead by Pryor as he danced across the ring. He's got Hart in trouble.
Tim, we've noticed in other fights, Pryor is a great finisher. When he gets you in trouble, he really becomes a whirlwind.
Battering Hart into the neutral corner.
And Hart is pouring blood.
And that's it. That's it. It's all over. The champion, Aaron Pryor, lived up to his prediction, stopping the challenger, Gaetan Hart, in the 6th round.
Aaron Pryor told us that he was going to win this fight between rounds 1 and 6. Aaron, you predicted it within 6, and I'm sure that was in your mind, no?
Yeah, but I was in shape to go 15 if that's what it took. I put a lot of pressure, but I had more pressure to put on at the end. I'm sorry I didn't have time to put it on for the fans, but I'm working.
You threw everything at him but the kitchen sink. You had fancy footwork. You came at him from all angles. Were you surprised you didn't finish him out early?
Well, you know, like I knew that he could take a good punch because I've seen him in previous fights, and I didn't want to get tired because I am human, but I fight like an animal. But I knew that if I hit him in those later rounds, if he kept taking those shots that he was taking, that I would catch him. And the last round, I just snooked that overhand right, took my time. My trainer told me to take my time. Panama Louis Frankenstein, my manager, Buddy Ross, they all did a beautiful job, and it came.
Here's the first knockdown. You can look at the monitor right there and describe it to us.
Well, you know, like I was hitting with those body shots, those shots to the body, you know, because I knew that was an overhand right that I threw. He walked right into it. That's when I settled down. Now, you saw me fighting a lot of movement those early rounds. And that last round, I never seen me came back so easy and threw that. It was the easiest punch in the whole fight.
You know what? You had said before this fight that you wanted to, you know, do this for Ralph Racine. You got a phone call coming. You've talked about the fact that a lot of the fighters have not been wanting to go against you, you know, for the lightweight title. You want the winner of Leonard Duran. You're like the angry young man of boxing. You're undefeated, and you are that way in the ring, and you showed it through all those angles. But you're not that angry guy, are you?
Well, I'm not an angry person, but I'm an angry fighter because I think I should have been champ a year ago. They've been pushing me back. Now I fought my way to the top, and I want to continue fighting my way. That's why I'm challenging the winner between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran, because I deserve a chance to beat somebody. I am a champion, but I want to be a world champion of all weight divisions that I can hold.
All right.
The fight with Hart drew a respectable 9.4 Nielsen rating. Pryor was then offered $500,000 for a fight with Sugar Ray Leonard, but he turned it down. It was the way he offered it, Pryor said. It was insulting. He said he was offering me more than I ever had in my life. I was getting $500,000 and he was getting $4 million. Leonard's people then upped the ante to $750,000, but Pryor once again refused. Sugar Ray Leonard later discussed at how Pryor came to him for financial aid and became upset when he was refused. Pryor then informed Leonard that he should have helped him spiritually. I told him that if he didn't have the spirit in him, no one could give it to him, Leonard said. A month after the Hart fight, Pryor's secretary and girlfriend, Teresa Adams, shot him with a .22 caliber pistol. One bullet grazed his chest while another hit his right forearm. Pryor was hospitalized briefly, but decided not to press charges. Instead, he asked Adams to marry him. Pryor then signed with promoter Don King, who booked him for the next 3 fights. CBS continued to showcase Pryor, booking a fight with Duane Johnson on 2 weeks' notice, as the network needed to fill vacant airtime. Pryor accepted the short-notice fight, but found Johnson to be a tougher opponent than he expected.
We're going to have some action here. Finally, the bell for round 1, and it's Johnson who came running out in a hurry, but not with any serious intention. And here's Aaron Pryor doing something unusual for him, just testing out his leg. The attack and lands a combination to the head of Pryor. Gets a smile back from the champion.
You might see an early knockdown.
There it is right there. Johnson. As Ray Leonard called that literally a second before. Now Pryor saying I'm fine, gets right up and goes after Duane Johnson, and that's what we expected too, Gil.
Remember, Tim, they were both going to box. Both guys were going to box. Now look what they're doing. As soon as he got hit.
You know, Pryor is going to risk getting knocked out if he can avoid it, and the only way to do that is to go after his opponent.
Pryor punches off balance. Duane Johnson is much more of a technician. I think he has better balance, and Pryor may go down again.
Duane Johnson with Pryor to the ropes, and now Aaron ties him up.
Now Duane should stay on top of Pryor now. Pryor still is a little dazed. Head is not clear. Duane should take advantage of this opportunity because it might not come again.
There he goes. He was hurt badly by that left hook.
Solid left hook from Johnson. He just missed with that one, and another.
Pryor's hand should be up at this moment because he's vulnerable for a left hook.
Now it's Pryor on the attack, scoring a combination to the head of Johnson. This is the slugfest we expected, and the crowd responding. Like to alert our stations along the line. There'll be a 30-second station break at the end of this round number 1.
Well, Johnson's in trouble now. He blew an opportunity, and Pryor, being such a very strong puncher, you're just going to see a lot of damage done there.
Johnson has looked over at our broadcast position twice as to indicate that, hey, fellas, this is just what we expected, isn't it? He's the one who said he didn't expect someone to be standing longer than 4 rounds. A big right hand from Pryor landed.
Oh, Tim, all the tricks in boxing went out the business. They're both throwing those bombs.
Less than 30 seconds to go, round 1.
If I was a second, I'd like to get my fighter back in the corner, no matter which one it is, and calm him down.
20-year-old Duane Johnson. Final seconds of round 1. CBS Sports Saturday continues after this word from your local station. And it is highly unlikely it will go that far. The champion in white, the challenger in red, Duane Johnson. He looks older. He's only 20, from Detroit, Michigan. And now Pryor comes out with his famous fury. But Johnson standing there going toe-to-toe with him. And he wobbled him with a body punch. And another one. Pryor clowning around, but I think he was hurt by those shots, Ray.
Those shots I heard. I think both men are rocking each other. The problem they have here, Tim, is both of them trying to upstage the other.
Pryor thinks he's invincible. He doesn't think that he can get knocked out. He has more confidence in himself. Even when he's on the floor, he can't wait to get up to get at the other fella.
But he's always been this way, even as an amateur. Pryor always had that showmanship to him. And here he can't afford to show.
That's absolutely right, Ray. Anybody can get knocked out if they get hit right, and this Johnson can punch.
Thomas Hearns looking on from the corner. His stablemate of the Kronk Gym in Detroit, Dewan Johnson, is very much in this scrap, having knocked down the champion in round 1. Good uppercut from Pryor and a left hook back.
Well, in Detroit, they call Johnson Mr. Excitement, and boy, he sure is.
Well, both men start out as a very fast pace and landing big punches. If this one goes down now, I think it's from fatigue.
Well, again now, stations along the line are going to be your commercial coordinator here. We're not going to a station break at the end of round 2. We're going to stay here in Cleveland at the end of the second round.
I mentioned if any edge Pryor would have, it's in maneuverability. He manages to step to the side, and then he nailed Johnson with a good punch. He's all over the place, Pryor. He's never in front of you.
Now, Pryor should show some experience. He has the experience. He should use it instead of just using brute strength.
Pace has finally slowed somewhat.
Dewan seems to be waiting for one good punch.
Very, very low blow by Dewan Johnson, but the referee's backwards to the punch.
Good right hand from Dewan Johnson.
Pryor's dazed now. Again, Dewan Johnson should take advantage of this opportunity because it's very difficult to hurt Aaron Pryor.
Right from Pryor, left from Johnson.
The big difference I see between these two fellas is that Pryor is so maneuverable. He can go from side to side, and he elevates the head and he lowers the head. Johnson is always straight up. He's always there. You can close your eyes and hit him.
Have at ringside, WBA Junior Welterweight Championship, 140 pounds.
Big right hand by Pryor.
But he was wobbled on a counter punch and then lost his balance and is quick to tell everybody he's all right. Sneaky right-hand lead by Pryor landed. Under a minute to go, round 3.
When Pryor throws that right hand, if he comes back with the left hook, it will land. Because what happened, Johnson drops that right hand.
Good right hand by Johnson, backed up the champion.
Now Pryor's really hurt now.
This time he's really hurt.
Johnson has the champion in trouble, but Pryor counter-punching back, perhaps by instinct. We'll see how fresh he is momentarily. Less than 30 seconds to go. Round 3, Michigan.
But we can't count Pryor out because Pryor has power in both hands, whereas he's capable of putting a man out with the right or left.
What a straight right hand by Johnson over Pryor's left hand. Couldn't have hit him harder. Right on the button.
One question I think has been answered. Pryor can take a punch even if he's the victim of a knockout ultimately in this fight. He has taken some raps that would have finished some other guys by now.
Johnson is a sharpshooter. His punches are straight and very effective.
Well, he said.
Good punching inside from Pryor.
Those short punches are effective.
Final seconds, round number 4. What a war.
If Aaron hurts Johnson, he's not going to get off the hook because Pryor is one of the best finishers I've ever seen in boxing once he really gets you hurt.
Other than me, Gil.
Well, the present company accepted.
He said one of the best finishers. Pryor landed a good right hand to Johnson in that exchange. That is a good point, Gil, and I know, Ray, you know the importance of it because, indeed, you know how to do it. What is that? Is that an instinct, or how do you deal with it when you know you got a guy hurt and you got to finish him?
Well, you take your time and you put your punches together. And this is the key. I'm quite sure it's like Gil said. Once Pryor hurt Johnson, if he hurts Johnson bad, the fight will end.
Pryor landed a right-hand lead. Johnson just goes toe-to-toe with him. Pryor with a good combination, backs up Johnson to the ropes. Johnson avoiding the rest of that exchange pretty well.
Beautiful head movement on the ropes by Johnson. He got hit with a couple, but Pryor expended a lot of energy.
One thing you should watch is the fact that Johnson throws 1, 2 punches. Pryor throws combination. He throws a series of punches.
Punches are much shorter than Johnson's.
Under a minute to go in the 5th round of this slugfest. right above us near the corner of the champion Pryor.
Johnson wants the right hand.
But now they're coming from too far out.
Pryor complained earlier about a headbutt, and I think that's a slight abrasion on his right eye.
This landed an overhand right. Didn't seem to move Johnson.
The little short punches are far the more effective punches by Pryor.
Home run ball tried there by Johnson. He missed it. Final seconds of round number 5. I'm frankly surprised it's gone this far. Good right hand.
Because he hasn't returned any punches so far, except for a little left jab.
He got nailed with 2 good punches right at the end of the last round, Ray.
They're just standing there toe-to-toe trading those punches. Tremendous stamina and conditioning showed by both of them thus far.
I just saw Johnson took the right hand, and it had nothing behind it. After this point now, Pryor will come on strong.
All right, Ray Leonard sees the tide turning in favor of the champion. Under a minute to go, round 6. He's had 5 fights since then. The farthest he's gone is 6 against Gaetan Hart. For Dewan Johnson, it was December 6th of 1980, and that was 6 fights ago, since he went more than 4 rounds. Ray, any significance to that?
Not really. I think this fight is going to decide on who's in better shape.
Who do you think is?
Both of them are in great shape.
Johnson, the challenger, has been on the attack early in this 7th round. Gil?
Well, when the bell rang, Pryor went back to that first round strategy of circling around, and he got nailed again the same way he did in the first round. Now he's back flat-footed again.
There has been 1 knockdown. It came in the first round. Johnson sending the champion to the canvas. He was up immediately.
Pryor has by far the better hand speed, and he puts his punches together better. As you said, Ray, Dewan loads up on 1 punch, but when Aaron hits you, he hits you 4 or 5 times.
I thought it's the same thing, Gil. Pryor puts his punches together quite well.
Big right hand.
Big right hand by Pryor.
Now Johnson, he's in trouble.
Now you watch Pryor. Now you watch a finisher.
Johnson doing pretty well again, bobbing and weaving on the ropes, but he is still very wobbly.
Pryor's non-stop here.
Can't get his hands up, and that's going to be it. The referee, Keogh, steps in, and Aaron Pryor, with startling suddenness in the 7th round, has retained his junior welterweight championship with a knockout victory over the challenger number 2 in the world, Dewan Johnson. A tremendously exciting slugfest, as expected. A great effort by the challenger, had the champion down in the first round, but as Sugar Ray Leonard and Gil Clancy kept indicating, from about the 5th round on, Pryor was turning the tide, and when he hits you and gets you in trouble, forget it. Aaron, was exciting as everybody expected it would be. You got knocked down in the first round. What were you thinking when you jumped back up?
Well, I was thinking that about my title was on the line, and that this guy wasn't a playmate, and that I got serious that I got knocked down in the first round, but it was good for me. It disciplined me. It let me know that I'm with the greatest promotion in the world, and I got back on my P's and Q's. But before I say any more, Tim, I want to thank you and CBS for making this possible, and my manager and my manager, Buddy Russell and Don King, because it was just beautiful, the whole promotion.
Aaron, you were the one who said before when you saw Snipes knock down Larry Holmes that it was going to keep you thinking about that possibility. Was that a factor when he went down?
Well, it did. It kept me thinking. That's why I got knocked down. I should have never thought about that, because once you think about something, it happens to you.
Sometimes it happens.
And that's what happened to me. But in good faith, it makes me a better champion like it did Larry Holmes. But sincerely, I'm happy because the Lord has answered a lot of prayers, and I hope that the next fight be the biggie. And Don King promised me.
What should be the biggie? Who do you want to fight next?
I want to fight Leonard, because I feel like I'm the king of the junior welterweights for what I've already done. If Don promised me that if he can't get Leonard to sign, that he would go for Alex Aguero. So I'm just going to wait in line until he put it together, because...
So you'll go up 5 or down 5 and be comfortable either way?
Either way to go. I proved today that I was strong enough and the king in the junior welterweights. But I worked hard. My trainer, Panama Lou, and my manager, Buddy Rose, they all did a splendid job.
All right, Aaron.
And
you gave everybody their money's worth. I'll tell you that, as usual. A most exciting fight.
Pryor made 2 more title defenses, stopping veteran Miguel Mancia in 12 rounds before returning to his hometown to face Japanese law student Akio Kameda, who knocked him down in the first round. Despite having a large entourage, attendance continued to be poor for Pryor's Cincinnati outings, and he complained that he couldn't understand why he didn't draw the same amount of people as Ray Mancini, considering they were both from the same state. Aaron has never done a damn thing to try and win the people of Cincinnati over, Peter King wrote. Once he was supposed to take a bunch of kids from an orphan home to a Reds game. So what does he do? Shows up an hour and a half late. It's not so much that Cincinnati doesn't like Aaron Pryor. It's that they don't care about Aaron Pryor. He hasn't gone out of his way for them. They figure, why should they go out of their way for him? A court battle with manager Buddy LaRosa followed, as Pryor never gave him a 50-50 split per their contract. LaRosa claimed that he had not taken a penny from Pryor until his first televised fight against Valdez. That's when the trouble started, LaRosa said. Pryor then signed for a bout against the legendary Alexis Arguello, earning a career-high purse of $1.6 million. To do this, he ditched Don King in favor of Top Rank. Pryor's an ingrate, Don King said. He sees ghosts, keeps looking into the past instead of the future. The past don't get you nowhere, Pryor replied. Only the future matters. Pryor's back was to the wall going into the high-profile fight in Miami. He lost the paternity suit and the court case against his manager. Remaining a cheapskate, he hired novice boxers to serve as sparring partners because he didn't want to pay professionals. When Pryor checked into a Miami hotel with 57 pieces of luggage, 2 bellmen were needed to make several trips up to his suite. Pryor gave them a $3 tip. Numerous legal wranglings and marital problems all seemed to point to a distracted Pryor. But Pryor was energized by the chaos. Reuniting with trainer Panama Lewis, Pryor came into the fight as a 12-5 underdog. Very few could foresee how the fighter, who seemingly did everything wrong outside the ring, could make everything right inside it.
Pryor has been known to charge out at the opening bell, round 1. Pryor with the first punch. He scores with a right hand. Up tempo right from the opening bell.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets knocked down in the first round.
Pryor, perpetual motion. He is right on top of Arguello, who gets off the ropes. Crowd already starting to cheer. Arguello with a right hand that scores on Pryor, whose legs buckle for a moment.
Pryor seems to be hurt. Alex went to the body and was able to hurt Pryor for a while.
Which is exactly what Larry Merchant was just mentioning.
Those uppercuts by Alex and that overhand right is very effective.
A right hand by Arguello.
This is the first time that I haven't seen Alex go at this pace in the early round.
There's a right hand by Pryor and Arguello is hurt. Well, so far the fight has been exactly as advertised. There's another right hand by Pryor and another right hand and another. And Arguello gets off the ropes.
Alex is hurt seriously now.
Arguello is letting Pryor fight his fight. And another right hand and Arguello back to the ropes again. Arguello unable to keep Pryor off him early on.
Alex
that
legs,
is a key.
He started to buckle, Barry. If Pryor can hop right on him now, he's ready to put Alex down. But he can't get too careless because Alex is a great champion.
This is still the first round, remember.
You know, both fighters a little onward in the very first round because they started off very fast at the beginning of the first round.
Well, there weren't too many who expected this fight to go the distance, rather. A left hand by Pryor again. And at this pace, there is simply no way that it can. A combination by Pryor and an uppercut. End of the round, and what a first round. Another factor also is the fact that Pryor often misses shots. He did not miss many punches in that first round, and he scores his first 3 of this one. An uppercut sends Arguello reeling backward.
You see, Pryor's also much physically stronger than the other fighters that Alex has been in the ring with. And that left jab of Pryor's getting through.
Pryor is very sharp with his punches. Not only a lot of them, but very effective.
Both fighters are missing some shots, like those overhand rights. If either punch lands from either fighter, someone has to go down. Arguello just land. Pryor can't afford to stand straight up because Arguello gets very good leverage. But inside, it should be Aaron Pryor all the way.
That time Arguello got a right hand counter punch off, and Pryor is hurt.
Now you'll see Arguello, because Pryor was dazed from that overhand right.
Pryor talking to Arguello now. times once in your fight with Tommy Hearns, but it is rare that a fight lives up to the press clippings. So far, this one has, albeit it is early. Arguello fighting off the ropes and fighting very effectively off the ropes. Arguello got the better of that exchange. But Pryor is still right on Arguello. And Arguello does seem content to have his back against the ropes and have Pryor lean on him. This is just the second round. Neither man is marked.
All right, good. You're the boss now, Jim. Give me that drink, man, that I mix. One that I mix. Loose it quick. Mix it. Follow some. You're the boss now. Roll!
Arguello straight right hand, or rather Pryor straight right hand, and I believe I see some blood from under the eye. And he took another shot right there.
Although Pryor's landing very well, he has a bad habit of coming straight in with his chin up.
It is just a swelling and not a bleeding under the eye.
See what happened? The right hand, Arguello was able to catch Pryor with that overhand right because Pryor's straight up in front of him. And now I sense fatigue in Aaron Pryor. And you'll see Arguello just take control.
And this is only the third round, and that short right hand, that was the punch that put Kevin Rooney away. He is not in there with Kevin Rooney tonight, but it was a good chopping right hand.
I really believe that
Pryor's starting to get a little arm room. And Pryor playing with Alexis Arguello here for a moment. I can't imagine really that Pryor could be armed weary, although he was fighting like it for just a moment there. There's a right hand by Arguello.
Well, Pryor has this funny way of throwing a lot of punches, then all of a sudden he plays around and gets his rest, his second win.
That was not a damaging punch by Arguello. Pryor backs off.
Those body shots of Arguello's taking a toll.
End of the round, end of round 3. Things that over a period of time can wear a man down. That right hand caught Arguello on the gloves, but he did score with an uppercut and another left hand. Arguello back to the right hand of his own. I don't believe Pryor's hurt. I think he was feigning injury there. I do not believe he was hurt by that.
You know, Arguello threw some body shots in that third round, and I felt they were effective against Aaron Pryor. See, Pryor cannot do this, Barry. He can't back up. Arguello gets too much leverage, and plus his reach that he has.
Kinds of exchanges, Arguello cannot set himself to punch
Talk to me,
back.
champ. Just talk to me. Put down your lap. All right? Double jabs in this sucker. Double jab. All right? Because when you shoot one jab, it's kind of punching you. So double the jab. Double jab, right hand. Okay? Okay? Come on. You're the boss. All right? Yeah.
He'll start throwing punches under.
There was a good left hook by Arguello, but it did not hurt Pryor, who smiles back at him and takes the right hand from Arguello.
Watch the right hand by Arguello. If he has time to set it up. But Pryor is in there.
That missed.
Like,
and Arguello going downstairs and coming upstairs, just as you mentioned, Ray. And again takes a warning for low blows. Arguello is starting to time Pryor a little bit better at the end of the 8th round.
and stay away from the ropes.
There's a right hand that causes Pryor to take a step back. And another right hand by Arguello, but as you mentioned, right, Pryor always comes right back after a punch.
After a big punch, Pryor comes right back. But the mistake he's making, Barry, he's stopping, he's slowing down. And Arguello, underhand with that uppercut and an overhand right.
And that cut over Arguello's eye has not been bleeding for the last 2 rounds.
Someone may go down this round. If these guys stand toe-to-toe, someone will go down, I feel.
And a combination 3 punch combination by Pryor, who's now right on top of Arguello. Arguello stays right there and misses 2 shots of his own. Pryor lunges in with a right hand that's over the head of Arguello.
Well, fortunately for both fighters, there's just a few seconds remaining.
End of the 9th round, Larry. And the blood above the eye has not really shown. Pryor showing that sort of quasi-bolo punch that he says Sugar Ray Leonard stole from him.
I stole from him.
There's a right hand by Arguello. And a right hand by Pryor. End of the 10th. There's a hard right hand by Arguello, but Pryor did not take one step back. Tough kid.
Those were some devastating punches by Alex Arguello. Some of this team has left Arguello, because if not, I feel Pryor would have been down.
Pryor coming back with an attack of his own. Takes 2 more from Arguello. Pryor does not seem hurt. Combination by Arguello again. The uppercut and the overhand right. Back with another overhand right. Pryor smiles at him at the bell. As you see it now, the fight's dead even.
It's just about dead even, yes.
And the pace picking up considerably. Pryor off the stool and right in Alexis Arguello's lap.
This fight is incredible. I mean, both men throwing bombs the whole time.
Just make you glad you made the decision you made.
I'm so happy I've retired.
Pryor with a combination. Arguello wobbles for a moment. Goes back against the ropes. I think that might have hurt him. And Arguello with a right hand. Pryor's legs wobble for a minute. Give and take from the very first round.
It's unbelievable, Bud. These guys, I just can't, I can't picture anyone being able to take those punches.
And Pryor continues to work on the eye of Arguello. And another good right hand and a left hand. Pryor now had Arguello grabbing for a moment. First time between that rounds that I've seen Aaron Pryor draw a deep breath. Pryor forces the attack. This is the 13th round. It is still anybody's guess. Toe to toe. Nobody really doing much damage, but toe to toe slugging.
Barry, notice Arguello's way he throws his left hand. I believe something's wrong with it. He's hitting open glove now.
There's a right hand by Pryor. Opens up Arguello for the moment. Pryor leaning into his man now. There's a right hand by Arguello and a left hand back. And Pryor seems to be just a step slow right now.
Well, you look at the way that Arguello's delivering those body shots. Pryor must have really trained for this fight. He's showing so much stamina here and endurance.
Well, there always was some question as to just how much he did train for a fight. In this case, I don't think there's any question at all, win or lose.
Well, he's really thinking also.
There's a right hand, snaps the head back, and Pryor is hurt. That was the best punch of the fight. And I mean right on the button. That was like target practice.
That was a beautiful right hand.
I mean, I just don't know how anybody else could stand up against that punch.
Come back like Pryor's doing.
A punch a little bit low by Arguello, and it really just caught Pryor out of position.
It just seems as deep as the Ohio River.
Give me that ball. The one I mix. Okay? Come on. Come on. Gotta win these 2 rounds, champ. All right, wait a minute.
Panama Lewis telling Aaron Pryor that he had to win these next 2 rounds. I'm not sure that that's completely accurate, but I would think it would be a pretty good idea. Aaron Pryor now in Never Never Land for him. He has never gone into the 14th round of any fight. Combination by Pryor. And a left hand snaps the head of Arguello back. Arguello is wobbly, breathing through his mouth. Pryor being patient. Right hand. That's one of those here it comes, and it's still scored. Pryor a left jab and a combination again. And Arguello's in trouble. Arguello in big trouble against the ropes. Pryor going for the kill, trying to put him away. Arguello trying to cover up. A smashing right hand. Arguello's helpless against the ropes. Arguello's hands at his side. It's over. Aaron Pryor has retained his junior welterweight championship. Arguello slips to the canvas. What a victory for Aaron Pryor.
Incredible, Barry. Never seen anything like that before.
Pryor was now the hottest fighter in boxing. Everyone wanted a piece of him. He moved to Miami and his entourage continued to grow. His home now inhabited by strangers looking to party. Adding to the chaos were 3 different men who came forward, all claiming to be Pryor's biological father. Controversy outside the ring now began to overshadow his victory. Arguello's camp raised questions about the mysterious bottle that Pryor's trainer used in between rounds. Pryor did not take a urinalysis after the fight, so the contents of the bottle remain a mystery. Adding to the suspicion, his trainer Panama Lewis was now barred from boxing after removing the padding of one of his fighter's gloves. Rumors of drug use also began to surround Pryor. His wife Teresa and her friend introduced him to cocaine once they were in Miami. Pryor proceeded to spend over $500,000 on cocaine over the course of the next 2 years. Following an easy defense against Sang Hyun Kim, Pryor formed a partnership with Sylvester Stallone's promotional company, Tiger Eye. Pryor received a signing bonus of $400,000 and a new trainer in Richie Giacchetti. Giacchetti's no-nonsense approach ruffled Pryor's feathers, and it wasn't long before the two parted ways. "They got all these guys screaming Hawk time," Giacchetti said. "Someone asked me what time it was. I said 4:30. Pryor then signed to face Alexis Arguello in a rematch of their epic encounter. But during a training session for the bout, Pryor began complaining of a headache and blurred vision. Suspicious, both Stallone and Giacchetti wanted Pryor to take a complete physical and to submit a urine specimen. Pryor refused, firing Giacchetti and severing ties with Stallone's company. This meant another lawsuit. Less than 2 weeks before the rematch, Emmanuel Stewart replaced Giacchetti as he was already in Las Vegas for another match. In training Pryor, Stewart discovered that Pryor's technique was more of a work in progress than he anticipated. "He makes more mistakes than any champion I've ever seen," Stewart said. "His defense is terrible. He's always there to be hit. His head is up and he's off balance most of the time. But he punches from every angle, and oh Lord, does he have talent." Stewart didn't want Pryor to take the shots like he did in the first fight. He instructed Pryor to finish a combination, then duck and move. "Arguello has trouble hitting a moving target," Stewart said. "He seems to lose his concentration."
Since November the 12th for the rematch, and here it is, round 1, and Arguello.
And Arguello
takes a hard one.
Terrific right hand, and that's going to discourage Aaron Pryor.
Aaron Pryor comes in like you would expect. Starting out fast, looking to score. Arguello coming back to the roar of the crowd.
This will not go the distance if it keeps up this way, Steve. They're both going out with the knockout.
The first one went 14 rounds. It's beginning just like that one. Back in the Orange Bowl. It's almost like deja vu. Only about 3,000 miles to the west. Oh, Arguello's down! Arguello's down in the first round!
Tremendous punch by Aaron Pryor. Right hand hit him right on the button.
But Arguello got up quickly.
Hey, you all right? Hold your hands up. Let me see.
Richard Steele counted to 7. He separates the 2, and Pryor wants more. He wants to finish Arguello in the first round.
Well, the referee gave Arguello enough opportunity and looked at him and asked him if he was all right. Pryor wants to finish it off now.
They continue to exchange in the center of the ring.
At the rate Pryor is going, you could
right in the first round with Lockridge and Bose Edwards, but Lockridge, who was knocked down, came back to win. Let's see what happens here.
No, Arguello's getting tremendous shots to the head, and he looks hurt. And another one.
Already redness forming around the left eye of Alexis Arguello. Aaron Pryor oozing with confidence. There's a right by Arguello, but a glancing blow to the head of Pryor.
And it didn't phase Pryor at all.
There's a harder right by Arguello. Another right by Arguello. A left uppercut by Arguello. And back comes Pryor with a combination. Oh, a right, a thumping right by Pryor.
Step back.
Arguello would be better off now, getting a little rest, going off to the rear, because Pryor is too dangerous on the inside.
A blistering first round, about 40 seconds remaining.
I have never seen the first round like this. Something's got to happen, whether it be this round or the next.
A wild left by Aaron Pryor, hit nothing but air, but a right connected to the head of Arguello. 30 seconds and counting in this first round, which seems like ages.
I still say that Arguello should recede to the back a little bit and take a little rest because he's taking some awful shots.
Right hand.
Left uppercut by Arguello landed. And right did not.
Arguello wants to end this quickly also, you can tell.
We're heading for the bell.
Step back clean.
Rematch.
Pryor's getting wild now, shooting those right hands across, but he knows they land.
A right landed by Aaron Pryor. And he pulls Arguello away.
I don't see how Arguello can really withstand that head punishment because of tremendous punches. Arguello's lost a little of his force.
That right hand snapped Arguello's head back. Now they're right up above us. And Arguello comes back.
Well, Pryor is tiring. We know that he doesn't tire, but he could tire because he's shooting everything.
There's a lunging right hand by Alexis Arguello that landed. It's even to this point, in our opinion. A lunging right, a reckless right by Aaron Pryor, and he seemed to slip a little bit. Arguello now the confident one.
Pryor is getting reckless at this point. He'd be better off settling down to gather up some strength.
Arguello lands. Crisp combination. Richard Steele says, get those punches up to Arguello. There's a thumping right by Pryor, landed to the head of Alexis. Arguello counters with a left uppercut.
Arguello has taken an awful lot. He is throwing a lot of power punches, but he's sacrificing an awful lot of punches he's receiving. That Pryor is constant action. He never gives up. He's like a bee on honey.
Overhand right by Pryor that slithered off Arguello's head, and Arguello countered with a solid shot. Left jab by Pryor connecting. About a minute remaining.
Great right uppercut by Arguello. Arguello is pushing the fight. I must repeat that. That means an awful lot in the eyes of the judges.
Arguello is backing Pryor into the ropes. Right uppercut left. Left uppercut by Arguello.
You can see the crowd is for Arguello. They're all rooting for him. As you said earlier, they don't like the antics of Pryor.
And Arguello looks to air it out. Left uppercut, right uppercut from the overhand right. And the crowd urging Arguello on. A right cross by Arguello landed. Another right. He's got Pryor on the ropes, and Pryor tired, leans on him.
Pryor's looking at his corner laughing, but he's hurt. He's being embarrassed by that attack.
He's taking a lot of punishment here in the final seconds of round 3.
In my opinion, Arguello is taking that second round. That third round, rather. The use of Vaseline is not in the rules.
It's been non-stop action from the opening bell. Beautiful flurry here by Aaron Pryor, and Arguello's down for the second time of the fight.
That was a left hook uppercut that did that. He got up on 3. He's up to 7 now.
You okay?
Furious attack by Aaron Pryor, raising his hand.
The referee.
Arguello says he's all right.
Yeah, the referee is giving him an opportunity and not an opportunity to rest.
Now Arguello charging in, looking to finish. Pryor looking to finish Arguello off. Arguello looking to hang on.
Now, Arguello is holding on. That's a bad sign. It would be wise of him to hold at this point.
Don't push, don't push. Hold him.
I can't understand why Arguello will not clench at this time.
Step back, Jake. Step back, right.
Relentless pursuit by Aaron Pryor.
Aaron Pryor is smiling.
Big right by Arguello. He almost went down for the 3rd time.
Oh, he's catching Arguello badly now. It doesn't look good for Alexis.
Not at all. As Pryor continues to pummel Arguello.
Where does he get that energy?
I don't know how he stays up. Unbelievable here in round 4. Oh, a right hand by Arguello got in.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that power anymore, Steve.
It didn't stun Pryor at all. You're right.
Come on, let him go.
Pryor will not step back. He's just on top of his man all the time.
He's got that thirst for destruction. He just never stops.
He is a living windmill. That's what he is.
Round 4 is ending. Round 8 scheduled for 15.
Pryor's corner just gave him an admonition. They said, put him to sleep. This looks like it's going to be the key round.
Furious exchange as the round began. Oh, Arguello landed with a left to the head of Pryor.
Beautiful. Arguello's come to life. But nothing seems to affect Pryor.
A low blow by Arguello. But Steele didn't see it, apparently.
Punch away out. Protect yourself outside.
Right uppercut by Arguello to the midsection of Pryor.
Tremendous comeback in this round by Arguello.
He's got Pryor against the rope.
And Pryor is laughing and holding. That's bad.
Watch the low blows, says Richard Steele.
It was Pryor who was holding behind the head. He's penalizing Arguello.
Penalizing for the fouls, and the crowd booing.
And actually it was Pryor who was doing the holding around the head.
Some debris thrown into the ring now by members of the crowd.
This is one of Arguello's so far best rounds.
No question. Drop of his blood into this fight.
That Pryor is certainly a tremendous fighter. I'll tell you, he's got more stamina, and he keeps coming back. Where he gets it from, I don't know.
Here goes Pryor again. Oh, what an uppercut to the chin of Arguello. Arguello's in trouble. He's down. He's down on his right knee, and he goes to the seat of his pants.
He's had it. Arguello, I'm sorry to say, doesn't look too good. His eye is hurting him. And he's staying down.
That's it. It's all over. It's all over. Aaron Pryor retains his WBA Junior Welterweight Championship for the 8th time.
Pryor was served with divorce papers the night before the fight. He earned $2.2 million for the bout, but pocketed only a fraction. His ex-wife took $500,000 and $750,000 went to manager La Rosa. After taxes and expenses, Pryor was left with $300,000. Trainer Emmanuel Stewart didn't see a long future for Pryor and never worked with him again. Aaron has a youth style, Stewart said, a style of out-and-out energy. That style does not permit the luxury of longevity. Meanwhile, Pryor felt that he had no one else to turn to. In a cinematic twist, he sought out the assistance of Alexis Arguello, asking if he could be his trainer going forward. "I can give you advice, but I can't train you," Arguello said. "I'm just not a trainer." In November of 1983, Pryor was arrested for cocaine possession, and later his inactivity forced the WBA to strip him of his championship belt. Pryor returned to the ring after a 9-month layoff, defending his IBF title against Nicky Furlano and winning a decision. He was back with Richie Giacchetti, but the trainer admitted that Pryor didn't prepare for the fight. Pryor reconciled with manager Buddy LaRosa, but remained inactive for another 9 months. He struggled to earn a split decision over Gary Hinton, once again not bothering to train, and his drug use was now fully documented. In July of 1985, Pryor was found in a crack house, claiming he had been kidnapped and that his van was stolen. His mother made it public that she wanted to get him into a drug rehab program. His ex-wife, fresh off of receiving a $1 million divorce settlement, told papers that Pryor's body was, quote, walking poison, and that drug dealers were confiscating his property as drug payments. The IBF stripped him of his title. Pryor looked anorexic and there was a cataract in his left eye. In July of 1986, he returned to the boxing gym, but trainer Giacchetti was skeptical. "He's done this before," Giacchetti said. "I wouldn't be surprised if he works out for a few days and then quits. Until he shows he's serious, he's not going anywhere." Pryor stated that he was a changed man attending church, but the next month, Giacchetti's prediction proved to be correct. Pryor was arrested for driving under the influence, and at the recommendation of his attorney, Pryor took the witness stand and admitted that he had a drug problem. Weeks later, he was found in a back alley, laid out among garbage cans with his face and clothes smeared with vomit. Now weighing 120 pounds, Pryor attacked his own mother after she tried to get him into rehab. 4 months after that, he was arrested on charges of raping, kidnapping, and assaulting a 26-year-old woman after she witnessed him smoking crack. Pryor spent 2 weeks in a Dade County jail before he was released as the judge didn't feel the witness had any credibility. Now in and out of rehab, Pryor made it back to the boxing gym in May of 1987, training under the legendary Bo Jack. "I'm a mean old man and getting meaner," Jack told Pryor. "I'm going to kill you before we're through." Pryor saw their union as a perfect match. "He's an old fighter that people have given up on. Together, we'll prove to the world that we're not through." Pryor returned to the ring against Bobby Joe Young after nearly 2.5 years of inactivity. But he confided to a friend saying, quote, "I don't know if I can do this anymore." When he entered the ring, he circled around trying to reclaim his old swagger. Young's trainer, 59-year-old Tommy Parks, told Pryor, quote, "You look a little flabby around the gut." Pryor became enraged, taking a swing at the trainer. Parks swung back, landing a right hand and bloodying Pryor's mouth. When the real fight began, Young took a cue from his trainer. He punished Pryor with right hands, flooring him in the first round and stopping him in the 7th. Alexis Arguello visited Pryor in the dressing room after the fight, begging him to retire. "Don't do this again," Arguello pleaded. Pryor moved to Rochester, New York, and continued to train off and on. He couldn't see out of his left eye, and those close to him noted that his reflexes were dead. The cocaine use had robbed his body of its ability to recover. Nonetheless, he returned over a year later, stopping a journeyman in 3 rounds. In March of 1989, he had the cataract in his left eye removed and had a detached retina repaired. Pryor admitted that he could not see out of his left eye for a couple of years, having no depth perception. He began making speeches on the dangers of drug abuse, speaking at various facilities like the Ronald McDonald House. But in September of 1989, he was stopped by police, who found a crack pipe in his vehicle. Pryor tried to get his boxing license renewed, but the commissions of Nevada, California, and New York all denied him. Now 34 years old, and only 3 months out of rehab, Pryor entered the ring at the Masonic Temple in Madison, Wisconsin, a state that didn't have a boxing commission. He stopped Darryl Jones in 3 rounds and vowed that he would return to the top of the sport once again.
2 hours before the fight, and they say I can fight. If I got the desire to go in there, I really want to fight. And I know I can see my opponent. I'm back in boxing. Hello, World Championship. Here I come again. Hawk time.
Pryor fought again 7 months later, before being arrested in March of 1991 in the hallway of a Cincinnati apartment building. He was found carrying 5 pieces of crack cocaine, packaged for sale. He was sent to jail and served 4 months before collapsing outside of a crack house, his ulcers bleeding from the years of abuse. Pryor was hospitalized, and after a DUI charge in 1995, he went through rehab 3 more times. "I won the fight in the ring," Pryor said, "but the fight outside, I lost." In the late 1990s, Pryor finally achieved sobriety. He made a modest living training fighters in the Cincinnati area like Tim Austin and Larry Donald. He remarried in 2003, became a deacon at a Baptist church, and returned to speaking on the dangers of drug addiction. After a long battle with heart disease, Pryor died on October 9, 2016. He was 60 years old. "There was one thing I want to share with people," Pryor said. "I've proved that even though you mess up in life, you could still get it back. It's not always as dark as you think."